The election of September 4 is a crucial one for Canada. The election is about change, not cosmetic or superficial, but true, responsible change which will benefit Canada and all Canadians. Change is the one event in our lives that brings new hope, suggests new options, brings alive new possibilities, and this election is all about those new possibilities, and it's about a new day for Canada. For more than 20 years, almost without any interruption at all, the Liberal Party has held sway here in Ottawa, has exercised the equivalent of a monopoly on politics and political development here in Canada. And their legacy for over 20 years has not been a happy one. Embittered federal-provincial relations, the exclusion of Western Canada for almost two decades from the decision-making process, the souring of relationships with our traditional friends and allies around the world, declining productivity, the falling dollar, rising interest rates, historically high unemployment, to which we now add that cruel tragedy, the unique one, of youth unemployment brought about particularly in the last number of years. Only minimal progress in the cause of the advancement of equality for women, notwithstanding the speeches of certain Liberals, and the greatest deficit in our history. This is the sad heritage that comes when there is no change in people or policy for such a long period of time, where one party is so entrenched in office that it's been here so long that it doesn't want to change. And that's why September 4 is so important for all of us. Canada is a magnificent country of absolutely remarkable potential. Our policy is to make Canada strong again. Our policy is to liberate the creative forces and energies in this country, to welcome investment, to encourage innovation, to stimulate growth, and to create those thousands of new jobs that we need by expanding enterprise in a climate of optimism and trust. Our commitment is to manage your tax dollars prudently, to treat taxpayers fairly, to harness the entrepreneurial spirit of this nation, to ensure dignity and economic security for our elderly and disadvantaged, and to work for cooperation at home and at all times seek that noble peace abroad. These are difficult times, and we don't pretend to have all of the answers, but we have listened and we have learned, and we have new people with ideas and programs and a deep commitment to Canada and a deep commitment to you and to your welfare. And we believe that together we can bring new hope and new prosperity and a better day for Canada.
Okay, there we go. Hello, how you doing? Welcome. And there I am. Yes. Well, another puppet, Rebecca, but the point is that he was actually a conservative back then, saying the things that needed to be said. The situation was almost the same. Hang on, it's coffee time. We have the coffee cup. We may proceed. And yeah, these are the kinds of things that the Conservatives and Pierre Poilievre should be saying today, plus all the fact about crime and the border and everything that was put forward over a month ago by Donald Trump that he wanted to see done. So there we are. Hey, everybody, how you doing? Welcome. I see the names in chat. Good to see you all. So just a quick update. I doing a bit better, moving a bit better, able to walk a little bit. I still kind of have to steady myself. I use a cane, walking stick sort of thing. Double vision is still pretty bad. And memory's coming back pretty good. And yeah, just trying to get on with it. Been to a couple more specialists, and there's more to go to and all that. So anyways, doing better, feeling okay, and gonna try and get through the show today. So I did that one with Brian Mulrooney. There's more of that debate that I'd like to play, but I just wanted to open up with that and talk about it. The next one I'm going to play here is, I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's a Canadian YouTuber, John Bolton. Don't get him mixed up with the John Bolton that got had his security clearance taken away by Trump, the warmonger. It's not the same guy at all. He's formerly, I guess, from Ontario. He lives in Alberta. I think he's been here a few years. I kind of asked him if in his chat earlier today if he would like to pop in. So if I see him in chat, I will. I'll put the link in chat for him to come join, and if not, we'll just keep carrying on. But it's the title of today's show is kind of well, basically, it's what he said this morning, and it's what we've been thinking for a while and what we've been talking about, and it's Alberta drawing a line in the sand. I'm gonna play some of his video from this morning, especially because he plays what Premier Danielle Smith has done. I'm still 50-50 on her, but again, we're it's crunch time, folks, and looks like Mark Carney, our new prime minister, voted in by 150,000 14-year-olds and foreigners and people in the Liberal Party that were allowed to vote versus the people that weren't. But anyway, yeah, it turns out his little trip to France and England, and he's not supposed to do that. He's not supposed to go up north like he did. He's not supposed to do that. And his fake executive order, that little thing he did to look like Trump and sign it and all that, to copy Trump, that's illegal. It's not how things work. And he's not allowed, apparently, under the rules, because of the situation. He's a caretaker prime minister. He has to wait until Parliament resumes and then try to get a seat. And then he can start, signing, like putting forth orders in council, which don't work the same way at all that the executive orders in the states do. Anyways, so again, I'm gonna play some stuff from him this morning, and thank you, John Bolton. And I'm gonna try and get him and some others on to talk about what's going on. Okay, so here we go. So that's John, and I'll let this play.
Sweet has become a theme. On Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, Mark Carney and the Liberals are a bigger threat to Canada than Donald Trump and the United States of America. And I believe that 100%. And I believe Danielle Smith believes the same thing. She's reading the tea leaves here, folks, or at least the poll numbers. I think she is very concerned. So yesterday they have this news conference talking about Critical Infrastructure Defense Amendment Act. And here she is talking about non-renewable energy. When you're talking about Alberta, that means she's talking about oil and gas. Listen to this.
This amendment to the Critical Infrastructure Defense Act provides an extra tool to safeguard essential infrastructure from interference, and that includes interference from Ottawa. I would certainly hope that the new Prime Minister has taken the time to read our Constitution, and I would direct him to pay specific attention to Section 92A, which gives the province, not the federal government, the exclusive jurisdiction over non-renewable natural resource development. Alberta will continue in its pursuit of doubling our oil and gas production to meet the growing global demand for energy. And we will not let Ottawa stand in our way. We will not tolerate the continuous unconstitutional overreaches made by the federal Liberal government. Measures like the emissions cap, the net zero electricity regs, the net zero electric vehicle, energy industry advertising ban must be stopped now. And make no mistake, Alberta will do whatever it takes to shield our economy from the Liberals' growth-killing lunacy. These amendments we're introducing today would include denying federal workers access to our facilities and the information they contain. I will continue to fiercely and unapologetically stand up for Albertans and defend the best interest of our province, our economy, and our industry. This ongoing tariff dispute has proven now more than ever that Canada must build big and build fast to reach new global markets for export. Canadians and politicians from across the country are calling for new pipelines to be built, east, west, and north, to secure our future and end our reliance upon our trading partner. However, if the new Prime Minister wants to resume an old fight, well, we will. We'll fight to the nail. Because if we can't make these decisions and build, then it's so obvious, when it's so obviously in the national interest, then what kind of an economic future does Canada have? Today's amendments are a warning, but they're also an invitation to Ottawa. Let's talk. Let's rise to the occasion. Let's use Canada's riches to protect our nation.
She all but threatened the government to stay out of her business. Well, on second thought, she told the government to stay out of Alberta's business right there. But she did mention in there that there's talk of putting in pipelines. Are we talking about that still? I haven't heard that talked about very much. I've heard Mark Carney talking about his net zero plans for Canada, which means the decimation of our oil and gas industry. So again, Daniel Smith is reading the tea leaves and the poll numbers right now. Now they go.
Okay, so I will put the link in chat for you folks. And so that you can go to that and watch John's video, watch the whole thing all the way through if you want. There you go. And, you know, here's the thing. They keep talking about oil and gas, and I know it's huge. It's massive. What is not talked about enough is manufacturing and other resources, because there's tons and tons of resources in Canada. Every province and every territory could be independently wealthy very easily. They're not talking about a lot of the industry that has been shut down, a lot of the small business, agriculture, all these things. They're not talking about it enough. And again, they're really not talking about what President Donald Trump put forward roughly a month ago, was border security, the fentanyl crisis, gangs, other bad things going on. He didn't get into China taking over too much, but you know, here's something, folks. China has put a bunch of tariffs on Canada because Trudeau, before in 2024, at the end of 2024, Trudeau put a bunch of tariffs on China that didn't get talked about a whole bunch. And so China retaliated. Now, what's interesting, the things that China is tariffing Canada for now at 100%, in response to Trudeau's 100% tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles and other things. But the things that China is tariffing are things they've been stockpiling for 15 years. Yes, for 15 years, products have been going over to China from Canada. Coal, sulfur, wheat, barley, oats, canola, right? Canola is the big one right now. Okay. Lumber, maple syrup, believe it or not, and sugar beets. China has been stockpiling Canadian products for 15 years. And one that doesn't get talked about enough is a lot of recycled products. So when you take stuff to recycling, especially when you take old fridges, old computers, old microwaves, old cell phones, anything like that, electronics, appliances, and other things like that, to a lot of these recycling centers, most of those get taken by ship over to China, torn apart. They go through them. They pick out all the things they can use, and they make new products with it. And a lot of metal, when you take stuff to the metal scrapyards here, it gets taken over to China. And again, they go through it. And when you get steel from China or aluminum from China or anything like that, there's 3 grades. There's one grade that is should be really good. There's a second grade that might have a little bit of a mix in it. And then there's a third grade, good luck. But that doesn't get talked about. Hey, Slow Country. And everybody else, hello, chat, how you doing? So that doesn't get talked about enough. And again, the other thing that does not get talked about enough, especially now when Poilievre for the last month should have been saying all this, is the gangs, the cartels, the crime, this kind of thing. And he needs to be talking about that. He needs to, I've been telling everybody in their chats and on X and on YouTube, I've been saying, Pierre Poilievre needs to go full conservative. What you heard from Brian Mulrooney at the beginning of this stream is what a conservative sounded like in 1984. And that's what a conservative should sound like now. People want change. A lot of iffy Liberal voters and iffy NDP and Green Party voters in Eastern Canada, up until the whole 51st state thing, were leaning towards Pierre. Some of them were a little bit iffy. And if he would have gone full conservative, a lot of them want change. They want things to go the other way. Business people especially want things to go the other way. Even in Montreal and Quebec City and Ontario cities and maritime cities, they want things to get better. They're tired of this. They need change. They're going bankrupt. They're in trouble. They're seeing all these big name stores go down. And this whole thing with Carney now and the 51st state thing and all the banter back and forth and everybody jumping all over it and the media bullshit like usual. And here we are, they're talking about polls again. And again, so today's line in the sand, I'm going to show you something here. I'll do a screen share. And there's something very interesting about this. And okay, here we go. Okay, so a new poll suggests Alberta is the province that most wants to separate from Canada, not Quebec. What's interesting about this article is that it's from 2019, from March of 2019, when Rachel Notley got elected as the premier of Alberta, the New Democratic Party, because Danielle Smith crossed the floor a few months before that and split the Conservative vote in Alberta and really screwed things up and allowed the NDP to get in. And Legault, still the premier of Quebec back then too. Okay. And this article goes on to talk about that Quebec was still using it as a bargaining chip, but Alberta was actually talking about it. And that's interesting. And so I'll screen share another one. And again, it's like I said, it's interesting. And how the numbers are going and what they're saying now is interesting as well. So now, here we go. I'm sharing. Okay. This is from Toronto 99 Independent News. It's a radio station in Toronto, but this is in 2023. 1 million Albertans are in favor of separation. So there's 4 million people in Alberta. 2.7 million are voting age, and almost half in 2023 we're ready to say enough's enough. Here's the news. Higher than that. I was looking today, searching and trying to find it. I couldn't find it. Last month, actually, right around the time that Trudeau, so it was in January, when Trudeau announced that he, there's going to be a leadership race and he will eventually step down. The Calgary Herald did a poll, and it was quite extensive. And it was 70, it's either 75 or 78% of the people they polled were ready to say enough's enough, we're out of here. It's not getting any better. And in fact, with Mark Carney, I think it's probably going higher. So again, what we're seeing, they're lying about these polls. I'll come to it as I go through my tabs. And I'll talk about it. So I'm going to play a Charlie Kirk video here interviewing Ezra Levant from Rebel News, and just sentiment and things like this, stuff that people are thinking. There's lots more going on. And the Ring of Fire in Northern Ontario, gone squirrely. Post a link if you got something. It's really high, and the media is trying to hide it. They're trying to prop up Mark Carney and make him the new hero and do all that, and they're trying to put out these bullshit polls saying that the Liberals are winning now and they're going to win and blah blah blah. Well, we know that gameplay, right? We know what they did with Hillary. We know that what they did with Kamala. We know what they're trying to do with Carney, and it's going to be epic, basically. And I don't think it's that far away. Now, I seen in the chat earlier the USC 50, which I have brought up and showed you folks before. That's in play. Remember, it was actually under Harper that shortly after they signed some of these agreements that the Canadian government started breaking the rules and going against the Americans and bringing in crazy tariffs and other, breaking trade relationships and trying to get away with sneaky shit, and making that happen. And then shortly after that, Trudeau got in, and we've seen everything that's been happening since. So Trump did not start this tariff war, not even close. So thank you to Charlie and Ezra, and I'll play a few minutes of this, and we'll go from here.
I want to just take a step back here. And how are Canadians processing all of this between our two countries?
Well, the Liberal Party of Canada, they've decided that it's easier to run against Donald Trump in the next election than to run against the Canadian Conservative leader in the next election. So you've never seen a Canadian election like this before. All the Liberals are talking about is Trump. And by the way, Trudeau is gone now. But we've got Trudeau 2.0, a guy named Mark Carney, who is even worse. He was on the board of the World Economic Forum. He's got 3 passports. He's the ultimate globalist. He was the head of the state bank, the Federal Reserve. It's called the Bank of Canada. And then he went over to the UK and he headed the Bank of England. And while he was there, he was friends with Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's right-hand woman. So this guy is the worst. I don't even think he lives in Canada. His wife still lives in New York where she works. He was selected in a Kamala Harris-style fake primary where foreign nationals were allowed to vote and children as young as 14. So this guy was installed, and he's going straight to the top of the Canadian political food chain, and he has decided that running against America, running on an anti-America platform, and obviously anti-Trump is his way to win. Trouble is, that's terrible for ordinary Canadians.
But so explain this to me. Was this a party vote I mean, what exactly was the process here?
Yeah, Trudeau, for 9 years, he's been in so many scandals. People are sick of him. So he resigned and he said, I'm out of here as soon as the party chooses a successor to me. So they had an internal vote, but that internal vote is so fishy. 400,000 people registered to vote, but only 150,000 of those were qualified and certified and verified. So more than half of the votes were not qualified. What the heck was going on? And like I said, you didn't have to be a Canadian citizen to vote. And you didn't even have to be a grown-up. So 14-year-olds and foreign citizens chose our new prime minister, and he goes straight to the top. It would be as if Kamala Harris became president, but at least she was on a ballot in 2020. This is so undemocratic. And he doesn't have a mandate. He's down in the polls, and he knows that fighting with Trump will prick Canadians to come. He's playing Captain Canada. But the trouble is, when you fight with Trump over economics, you're going to get hurt. It's just a fact. America is 10 times bigger than us. And I'm really worried that there's what's called a moral hazard here, if you know what I mean. Donald Trump.
Okay, so that's enough. We'll carry on from here. I've been looking at your comments. Thank you, Daryl, for the link. Where did I see it? Did anyone else hear that China supposedly executed 4 Canadian nationals today for drug trafficking? Yeah, it's all over Twitter. There's nobody's got real proof on it that I could see. I don't know yet, but if something comes out, or if you find a link or something that you can put in chat, okay. And we keep going from there. We are again. So what's happening right now? Danielle Smith really drew that line in the sand this morning or yesterday, whenever it was. But it's getting more and more all the time because she's being told. She said a week ago or 2 weeks ago, she said, "Oh, that's not what I'm hearing from Albertans." Bullshit. That was a lie. We knew that. People are walking up to her everywhere she is. Hey, let's get this going. Like, it's serious. Everybody's telling their MLAs, members of the Legislative Assembly, and their MPs. Yeah. And so yeah, here we go. So why isn't Carney saying anything about those slain Canadians? So again, we need to look into that, see what comes out in the wash. Again, people are talking about it on X, but I didn't see any actual posts, and I'm not going to go looking now. But it's quite alarming. And just a second here. Which one is this? I got to get my tabs ready here. So for you folks, I got most of them lined up so that they're where I want to start. And oh, hang on. Got to see which one this is. Oh yeah. Okay. This is CTV News. And again, a lot of these polls, it's crazy that the Conservatives were like 100 seats ahead, and now they're saying that the Liberals are in the lead, right? Or that it's close. I don't believe it. Polls don't usually switch that fast. Depends who they're polling, who's paying for the polls, because all these pollsters, it's a business. Okay, they don't do it for free, folks. All these polling companies, they don't do it for free. They're all pay as you play. And so again, I'm going to play this CTV clip. So free use YouTube, free use CTV, and let's listen to this really closely. They've got an Australian on CTV News now. That's always good. Here we go.
Is Nick Nanos, founder and chief data scientist at Nanos Research. So, Nick, we just heard Jeremy Sharon there talk about how the polls have really tightened. The Liberals at one point were more than 20 points behind. Just what's your polling showing you about how close this race is?
Well, the latest Nanos tracking basically has a dead heat between the Conservatives and the Liberals, 1 percentage point. It's basically within the margin of error. And basically, we're talking about a horse race right now that, what was once a big advantage for the Conservatives has evaporated. And, right now what we're seeing is basically a dead heat between the Liberals and the Conservatives, with the New Democrats trailing back at 15 percentage points.
So this is likely going to be a fairly short election campaign. Who does that favour?
I don't think anyone has an advantage in this election campaign because we have the uninvited guest. His name is President Donald Trump. I would expect that he'll be saying stuff, not to interfere in the campaign, but generally saying stuff about Canada and tariffs. And it will be a complete pressure cooker for the leaders of the federal parties to respond almost on a daily basis, I would expect, to what Donald Trump may say or what he might want to do. And you know what? The race is so tight that if anybody messes up, it could be like Survivor Island. So people will be looking at Mark Carney as the leader of the Liberals, Pierre Poilievre as the leader of the Conservatives primarily, because those two individuals are the most likely to win, the next federal election. So it's going to be tough for both Pierre Poilievre and Mark Carney in this next election. Unprecedented in terms of the pressure that they'll be under, because a lot of Canadians know that this next election is going to be competitive and it's going to be very important. Probably the most important election since 1988, when Canadians voted on free trade, because Canadians know that whoever they select to be prime minister will not just lead the country. They'll have to deal with Donald Trump and the U.S. administration, and they'll also have to chart a positive path forward and vision for the Canadian economy and where jobs are going to come from, an environment where our relationship with our most important ally and trading partner is under severe stress.
Nick, let's just bring up your seat.
Okay, so there we go. And isn't that interesting, right? That they're still pushing everything on Trump. And you saw the tagline there, breaking news. Carney's going to call a snap election on Sunday. That's the word that's out right now. That's what everybody's talking about. And yada, yada, and all that. So just one sec here. I'm just getting the next tab ready. And because now we're talking about recession. And again, Natos brought up what the hot points in this is. And again, what it is they've really been hitting the West hard. But they've hit the Maritimes too. And but it's small businesses, like I said, in all of Canada. And even some of the big businesses. And some of them have gone under. And the big issue is kind of being talked about and kind of not. So just one sec here. I'm just going to play another one. And we are again, we are in a recession. It's not headed to recession. We're in it. But anyways, I'll let them talk for a couple of minutes.
In their March rate announcement, what data points, what scenarios is the U.S. Central Bank looking at that will move the needle on policy?
Obviously, a lot of that is about inflation, and we've seen how they revised their inflation expectations upwards, all while bringing down their economic projections lower. But I think in the case of the Fed, even though Chair Powell has mentioned he's pretty satisfied with what he's seeing in terms of longer-term inflation expectations, we have to remember during the pandemic it was the same thing. Longer-term inflation expectations didn't move all that much, but still in the short term, households came to anticipate higher inflation, and so much that the Fed ultimately had to respond to that. So that's something to watch here, as we are seeing some signs that households are expecting more inflation in the next few months, alongside all that uncertainty surrounding tariffs. And once we start to see really the price effects of those tariffs, that could shape inflation expectations, and that I think will play a key role in how the Fed decides monetary policy going forward.
Another topic for discussion.
Okay, so like I said, it's something else out there right now. Hey Phil, how you doing? Welcome. Yeah, Cindy, I'm blurry. I don't look so good because I can't see because of the accident. But anyways, for those of you just getting here, I'm doing better. Slow recovery, double vision, vertigo, concussion, all that is still headaches. Still dealing with that. But anyway, moving on. Yeah, we are in a recession, and we have been for a couple of years. It's going to get worse. Again, they want to blame a lot of this on the tariffs. It's again, it's just they just keeping that as the hot point, and not getting to the actual issues. So I'm going to include this link in chat. And again, they get into a lot of the, just a sec. Oh, crap. I'm probably going to have to find my place again. I don't know yet until the page comes up, folks. Just wait. And where is it? Okay, hopefully this is it. Just a sec, folks. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to find the right tab. And yeah, again, I don't have a second screen, so I'm oh shit. Okay. No, I don't know. It moved ahead on me, so it's not where I wanted it to be for the to be able to talk. I hate having to find stuff. Yeah, I think I found it. I'm gonna take a chance that this is it. The point I wanted to start at. Just give me a second here, and I'll put this link in chat. It's Curtis Stone, and he's another Canadian YouTuber, another gardener guy. He's really heavy into down the rabbit holes with common law and actual maritime law and our fake governments and all that. It's important. And again, if Alberta separates, we're not. I've been to 3 constitutional conventions since 2019. If Alberta separates, if we claim independence, there's a massive group in Alberta that's just going to walk in and tell the existing governments, all the corporations, your days are over. You don't have a job anymore. You have nothing to say. And that's the way it is. And it will be common law. And that's not, I'm not exaggerating. I'm not trying to put forth something I believe that isn't, actually true. It's honestly true. And that's why, again, I don't think the 51st state thing is, first of all, I don't think they'll be able to sell it to too many people, to enough people. And this is what his video is about. The title is, Will Canada Be Joining the U.S.? With Cal Washington, the guy he is interviewing here. And I hope I have it in the right spot. And I'll just let them talk for a couple minutes. But again, it gets into the weeds, this one, on some of the technical data and the way things probably are going to end up going. We will not have a Westminster style government. There will be an elected Senate. I doubt there will be political parties, representatives only. It's pretty much, it's a copy of the original US Constitution, but with more paragraphs in each amendment, more specific. In fact, the Second Amendment in the US Constitution becomes the Third Amendment in Canada. They separate the first one into free speech and media and accountability, and then the second is to do with spirituality and religion and what's the word I'm looking for? Differentiating that between ideologies and what's allowed, what's going to be allowed, and what's not. And that's serious stuff. So, anyways, I'll just hopefully it's at the right spot, and we'll let it play for a minute, and then we'll get on with it.
Is so like cryptic about it for guys like you and me is that we're at a precipice now where what you taught me 11 years ago is happening, at least in my theory, because of the constitutional problem that you told all of us about back in 2014, that because the charter was never ratified, because of article whatever it was that gets you in that endless loop until Quebec allows English in their schools, there's no charter.
There's no charter.
Which is so insane. But we're here now because Canada was never really a proper country. It's essentially the Hudson's Bay Company.
It is essentially the Hudson Bay Company, and whoever is the holder of that document, the Hudson Bay Charter. It's called something else officially, but that gives you the right to run a corporation as if it was a government. You would not know the difference for all practical things because they're allowed to make their own laws and enforce them. They're allowed to have armed forces, artillery, navy, courts. Think about that. Walmart is allowed to have its own court.
Yeah.
And the courts all could hear, subject matter to deal with the company, but they could also hear criminal and civil matters. So they were
Which
trained.
is so crazy because if Canada is a corporation like Walmart, which it is, to call the court is basically an oversight committee from a board of directors in a company.
Yeah.
Right?
Ta-da. Yep. It's crazy. That's where we're at. That's where we've been at since 1867. And 1982 did nothing, except for they made it seem like it did, and they've run off it ever since. The Charter of Rights and Freedoms has never been accepted and ratified legally, but everybody jumps on it and uses it. Okay. We're corporations, and Walmart is a big enough corporation. If they really wanted to try, they could probably try. Now, of course, there'd be backlash, but it's just the fact that in the law, that's how it works, and that we don't actually have real laws. We don't really actually have real governments. We don't really have a real judiciary. Judges and lawyers is all fake. And that's why in the States and Canada, they don't put through laws, they put through acts because they're acting. And they're acting in accordance to. And Alberta separates, or I'm not going to say separate, I'm just going to say leave. Because again, under the corporations, goodbye, see ya, kick them out. It's that simple. In the referendum, it would that would be the question, and it would be in there. And it would be a simple question aimed at, you know, do you want to have Alberta be its own country with a new government and system, or stay in Canada? Those would be the two choices. There would not be a 51st state option on the referendum, I don't think. They might put it in there. I think it would cloud things. And again, I think that it would be a mistake because too many people would see that and get pissed off and want to stay in Canada. Because they don't understand. People don't comprehend where this all could go and how it could work. I'm not running down the 51st state idea. What I'm saying is that the sentiment and the thought process and everything right now, and it was this way before Trump started the banter, okay, and all it's been this way since 2019, because this was coming up in 2019 as well. It was coming up in 2014, okay, becoming American, all right, and it's just not. It won't sell. It won't sell. There's a lot of people that'll vote for it, but not enough to make it work. Whereas just making our own country and telling Ottawa to pound sand, yep, and then getting rid of all corporations that are acting as governments. So that is kind of where we're going. And again, the problem is we have now is that with this whole Liberal Party of Canada vote, putting Mark Carney in as the Prime Minister, and again now he's got to do something. They're all there. It's all over the place that they're going to call an election, and it'll be on Sunday because Parliament resumes on Monday. So it would make sense to get the Governor General to dissolve the government and call an election on Sunday, not have to go into Parliament and answer to anybody or anything, and just go for the best, hope for the best and run it. They have a minimum of 29 days to run an election in Canada. There's also a maximum, and it's almost 3 months. In 2021, when Justin Trudeau called the election on September 11th of 2021, the vote took place, I believe, October, it was the 19th or the 20th, or something like that. It was a couple of months that they ran the election process, and I think it'll be quick if they're going to do it. I just don't believe they're going to do it. I think they want to hold on to what they've got for as long as they can. They'll bring in the Constitution to take down the law that the Constitution, but the Charter and everything that's in it, to take down the law that was put through in 2012 or so, because in the Charter, and I believe in the British North America Act as well, it's every 5 years there has to be an election in Canada. They brought in a law, I think around 2012-ish, somewhere in there, that it was 4 years. And so yeah, unsquarely of rage. I'm going to start getting into chat a little bit, folks. Probably been missing a lot. So what I'll do is I'll start with this one, and then I'll work my way up and catch up with you. Does Trump wanting our country have anything to do with perhaps World War III? Well, it has a lot to do with that. And again, the Arctic, and the fact that putting more bases in, more ships moving, minerals, yada, yada, yada. It has a lot to do with it, but it's not everything as far as I can see. There's a lot of banter on that, and back and forth. Economic union, having one North America under the US dollar, I think is his main focus, but safety and security national security is it as well. That was the thing with Greenland. But again, I don't think it's all of it. Okay, so again, I'm just going to go up and look for comments. Some condolences. Somebody passed away.
Yeah, Stone.
Did you share the link for Curtis Stone? Yes, I did.
Stone's wife,
Who?
Curtis Stone,
Her wife passed away?
a couple days ago.
Oh, shit. I didn't know. Well, I haven't.
I just saw that.
Okay, that had to have been really sudden. I don't know. I'll have to look this up. So, geez. Man, oh man, oh man. That's a tough one. Trump won't go against the Federal Reserve. Yeah, he will. He will. If we get a Canadian, American, North American Union, a financial union, they'll send the Federal Reserve packing. The Bank of Canada will be gone. They will back the dollar on resources. Remember, and again, Phil's in chat, and Phil can flood the chat with links on 1973 and the gold standard issue and all that. Canada was the richest country in the world. Because our Canadian dollar was based on our resources and our GDP. And in 73, we had the big three automakers, and they were booming. We had mining in provinces and territories everywhere. We had all kinds of manufacturing, and our tech sector was burgeoning. Northern Telecom, again, was like the top company. It was Northern Telecom, Alberta Government Telephones, was the top tech telephone company in the world. We had all kinds of things going on. Even though the Avro Aero had been shut down, and that program and that all went to the States and blah, 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 a lot of the manufacturing around that and all those things, a lot of those companies recovered and started doing other stuff. I mean, and again, Phil can tell you this, being from Ontario. In 73, we were rocking and rolling. And, well, Trudeau #1 had been in for a few years. We got taken off the gold standard, and some other moves were made. It was very shortly after that they brought in the bullshit energy program, did all that, and just started making it worse. But if Canada and the States were to get rid of the corporations, go back to the original republic, join up together under the US dollar backed by resources and GDP, wouldn't matter what anybody else did. And I honestly, I think that there's a lot of people that want to see that. I've kind of wonder, hey, Phil, are you still in chat? Please, can you let me know, Phil, if you're still in chat? I'm thinking about bringing you on so we can chat about some of this, because my head's not clear with the accident, and I know you're going to just be able to pull stuff up, and we can dig into the weeds a little bit on this. If there's, what, I mean, again, maybe I should talk to others in chat. Maybe I should bring anybody else on that has got a bunch of stuff and can talk about some of this stuff. Maybe we should have a panel and get some folks up here and what do you think? Should we do that? Because we would be a powerhouse. And again, I don't think that any of them want to see Alberta leave. however, if it was the linchpin, if that was opened the floodgates for the rest of Canada to fall and the corporations to fall and everything to blow up, and then everybody started to join in, right? That again is a hard sell, to just get everybody in Canada and the United States to all of a sudden kiss and make up, join. Again, it would have to be under Trump to start, right? You know.
There's your vote.
Okay. Yes to the panel. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna what am I gonna do here? How about Daryl and Awakened and Phil, if you're there? Because again, I kind of know you folks from my chat, and I know that you've sent me a lot of really good stuff. I'm not trying to pick favorites. I'm trying to pick people that I know have done the rabbit hole and sent me good emails and this kind of thing. And I know there's others in chat too, but let's just start. Let's just start Awakened and Daryl Calhoun, and I see Roland is in here as well, and then Phil, if you're still in. I don't know if Phil's still in here or not, but I'm gonna put the link in chat. I'll have to move over to YouTube to do that. Just give me a second. Okay, Awaken says she'll chat from here. Can't call in right now, sorry. Well, it would, okay, yeah. How this works is I put the StreamYard link in chat and you click on it, and then you go through the thing to get on to StreamYard, and then I bring you on. So just one sec here. Because again, we got, I know there's a lot of folks in here with the 51st state thing too, and yeah. Oh, my thing is blurry. I don't know if that's the camera or what's going on. It's probably this old computer is just dying. It's probably what's going on. This poor old Windows 7 thing is it could be the feed. We don't have good reception out here. No. Well, I will shut my camera off. If we come on, we'll shut our cameras off just to save bandwidth. So I'll go back here now. Yeah, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to shut the camera off and see who comes in. And Ridge Runner's here. You've been on panels before. I think Bobcat's been on panels. So anyways, we'll just go with this for now. It's again, there's a lot to cover. We can still see you, Cage? Oh. Okay, I thought it was my icon is up now. You might be back a bit, a minute or two on your feed. Sometimes you have to sometimes your feed gets slower, right? Oh, okay. Okay, well, it looks like well, we're at the 1 hour mark anyways. So let's plan this. I'll put up a reminder on another day when I'm feeling good. Just a sec here, folks. Okay, so I'll put up another reminder on a day that I'm feeling good. I'll try and figure out this computer thing. And I think I might have a webcam here in a box, maybe. So I might have to look at that. But yeah. Well, hopefully we've dug into it a bit here. I need to go find out about Curtis's wife and reach out. This is news to me. I didn't know. It's not that we're close or anything like that. It's just YouTubers know YouTubers kind of stuff, right? And yeah, that's tough. He's a young guy with a young family. I'm just guessing it was something very sudden, is what I'm guessing. Yeah, get some rest. Yeah, I know I should. Okay, so thank you, folks. And yeah, I'm feeling better, doing better. I'm trying to keep things going. Workers' comp as usual. I still don't have a caseworker. It's been a month. They haven't started any kind of rehab or physio or anything. So it's kind of me and Stella doing stuff and things. Anyway, she made carrot cake today. We dug in together. I helped her. I held onto the counter and held on for dear life and stirred a bowl. And I grated the carrots. And so we're about to try it. So that's good. Okay, folks. Prayers to everybody. Thank you for all your thoughts and prayers and the messages I get, etc., and everything. And we will chat with you all soon. Cheers.